One does not simply save Quinlan Vaz. This is Saving Vaz. I'm not really sure part 1 or part 2. I'm going to have to look ahead. But, I mean, honestly, I feel like everything that happened here could just be one episode, so I'm just going to take a shot in the dark. So, in this episode, it's been a few months. Ventress has been basically drinking away her misery, while Dooku's been wreaking havoc along the galaxy, around the galaxy with his new apprentice, Quinlan Vaz. And then Desh comes to Ventress and tells him the council's debating what to do. You could help them save Vaz. And, like, it's the best way. Ventress reluctantly agrees, goes to the council, and they're going to arrest her, but then Ventress convinces her them, they're just as much at fault for what happened, if not more, than Ventress is, and the council agrees not only to that, but not to arrest Ventress and actually basically recruit her to help them rescue Vaz. And say in exchange, we're going to give you a full pardon for everything you've done, since bringing someone back from the light side is a huge deal. So they find Dooku, who's orbiting around Taris, which, oh my gosh, Taris was going to be in the Clone Wars. And we've got to see Taris in the Clone Wars. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh! They raid the ship, very kind of similar to what they do in Revenge of the Sith, if I think about it, the opening. They find Vaz, rescue him. Turns out he's okay, like he was just faking being evil, so Dooku wouldn't find out, but Dooku found out, and he's captured him and been torturing him for a while. Ventress... Anikan Obi-Wan say, okay, he checks out, but Ventress doesn't trust him. But anyway, they get Vaz out of there, but Ventress still doesn't trust him. And this is a really good episode. I mean, I'm going to assume this is where the first arc would have started and the last one would have ended, because for starters, like a couple months, there's a major time lapse, and I always feared that partway through the book, like there was going to be a giant time lapse. And this seems like it. I mean, although if the season 7 Ventress arc was going to end with Obi-Wan and Ventress sitting there in the bar just drinking in silence, I'm like, that's a powerful way to end it. Yeah. I like how Desh comes back. I thought that was a very clever way to sort of bring that scene where we meet Vaz back and not just make it random filler. The council scene in particular was really well done. I mean, for one thing, it sort of shows the evolution of Ventress' character, the fact that she no longer wants anything to do with the Sith. And also just, it's interesting to see Ventress and the council both be put on trial. Like, we sort of see, like, again, how Ventress is sort of changed. Like, she isn't the same person. Like, the fact that she's proved that you can come back from the light, the fact that she's even being honest, her honesty with the council. And I like how Obi-Wan sort of recognizes, okay, Ventress has changed. This isn't the same person I met early in the Clone Wars. And I also really like how they do address how much at fault the council is for this. And how the council's like, yeah, Ventress does have a point. I mean, Ventress did do what she did with Devals, but we did create this mission knowing perfectly well who Ventress was and what she would likely do. Which, again, reinforces the idea that the council isn't always right and why there is some doubt. And I really like where the episode goes. I mean, the concept of Ventress, Obi-Wan, and Anakin teaming up and going on an adventure together, that's just so cool. And oh my gosh, the fact that they were going to do that and we didn't get to see it, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, when you consider the fact that they've spent so much time fighting Ventress and trying to capture I don't know. I'm just such a fan of that cliche where the hero and the villain have to sort of team up and do something, and it works particularly well for Ventress because they did a good job setting up, and it's not just like a temporary truce. Like, it's like No, they're actually legit teaming up. Like, it very much, like, again, I love these team ups because it's something early in the show you never in a million years would have seen coming, but, you know, like, the characters progress so much at that point. I mean, it's very much like in Avatar The Last Airbender when Zuko, at the end of the show, the last chunk of the show, he, like, joins up with Team Avatar. And it's, like, this thing I've been waiting to see for the entire show, and, like, I'm so happy that there are plans to go there. I kind of wonder, like, if they knew ultimately where Ventress was going to end up when they were writing her arc in season 3. Like, if they knew from the start, okay, this is gonna be a redemption story for Ventress. Yeah, because, man, has she come far. I mean, I'm looking back, it's the first season where Ventress is with Yoda and she's trying to kill him. And here, and what I'm gonna presume is season 8, like, she's like, here, and okay, in my Rebels vlog, I complained about how Kanan was too willing to sort of accept the forgive the clone troopers, despite everything that's happened. And I like this because Ventress has done some horrible things, and Ventress hates the Council, and just because she needs the Council doesn't mean she has to like. I mean, they both acknowledge that they need to work together, that they need each other, but they aren't happy about it. They aren't, like, smiling. Like, Ventress is still Ventress, the Council is still the Council. Like, Ventress, again, which is one thing I really like with this team up, is that Ventress, they don't betray Ventress. She's not hearts and souls. She's still the hot-headed, ill-tempered person that she still is. Just her perception of, like, whose side she should be on has changed. Like, their interests are aligned. But again, like, Ventress isn't happy about Anakin Obi-Wan. They realize they need Ventress needs help. Anakin Obi-Wan need Ventress's knowledge of Dooku to get through, but they aren't happy about it. And that's sort of the thing I wanted to see in Rebels. Like, I wanted to see Kanan realize, okay, out of necessity, not just moral obligation, I'm going to help these clones and bring them along, but I'm not happy about it. Like, that's what I feel like Kanan showed, as opposed to him smiling and it's like, you're okay. I'm like, no, Order 66 is kind of a very traumatic incident. Kanan should not be willing to sweep it under the rug. Like, it should take time. He should... Like, it should take several episodes for him to accept Rex. Like, they should really have to go through a lot together. Like, at one point, Kanan should have had to have come to terms with, like, what happened to his master and make his peace with it before he's willing to move on and, like, accept Rex. Kind of like what happened between Qatar and Zuko in Avatar The Last Airbender. And I know I reference that show a lot, but it has such good writing, and I love it. And if any of the writers are watching this show vlog and haven't seen the show, go see it. Like, you can learn so much about how to tell a great story from watching it. I'm not saying you're bad writers. I'm just saying, like, this is, like, the model of excellence I have that Clone Wars sometimes is able to meet it, and this is, like, one of the few times where it's, like, hitting that. Although, I mean, it wasn't all perfect. I mean, honestly, I feel like we're sort of, I mean, first off, I feel like we're getting towards the end of Ventress' story. Like, not just the end of an arc, but the end of a character's story in general, and I get, like, this really feels like we're really nearing the end of what Ventress' story would have been. But, I mean, once we get towards the second half, I feel like, once we get to the ship, that's when things start to get a little, like, meh for me. For one thing, like, the whole going inside a separatist ship thing and fighting Dooku, I mean, I've seen that done a million times. Like, how many times have we fought Dooku in the series? Like, Anakin fighting Dooku is starting to get redundant, so, along with raiding the ship, and, yeah. Vaz, I feel like Vaz being good, I feel like that sort of felt a little cheap to me, still a cop. I mean, I like how there's still conflict. I mean, now we have the thing of how Ventress needs to learn to forgive Vaz and accept him, and I like that element of conflict, but I feel like Vaz got pushed to the dark side. Like, I would have liked to have seen that more gradual turnaround, or can Vaz even be saved? Like, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of a missed opportunity. I mean, who knows? Maybe he is sleeping, and maybe there is some dark side that's going to be awakened with him. But, I mean, if this is the route they're going, I'm like, this is kind of a cop-out, but, I mean, Ventress is... Again, I think the conflict within Ventress, I think, works. I did like how Obi-Wan, like, fought Ventress, but, I mean, unlike previous fights, like, he understood, okay, Ventress isn't fighting for the sake of evil, like, you know, he understands why Ventress is upset, and this isn't so much about defeating or apprehending Ventress as much as calming her down, like, saying, Ventress, you need to chill. Which, again, shows sort of how interesting their relationship has changed. Like, it'll be weird, like, if I ever go back and watch, like, Clone Wars movie, just knowing where Ventress would end up by the end of the show and what the relationship. It's like, it's really impressive how much Ventress has evolved. Like, she went from being that two-dimensional Inquisitor villain, which Rebels use a lot, to now this fully fleshed out character. Like, she feels like a human being, and someone that I can connect with and relate with, which I wish I could do with the characters on Rebels, but I can't, because especially the original villains so far, who are so two-dimensional, and hopefully the new ones change, although, I don't know, they still seem kind of bland, but we'll see. The only other thing, I mean, it's hard to tell if this would be a problem or not, because I'm just reading it, but we would have had some battle droids, and I don't know, the battle droids comic relief, in such a dramatic and heavy arc, I feel like, you know, them riding on the ship, dealing with Neil Vaz and hearing, "Hey, intruder alert! You're not supposed to be in here." Like, voices like that, I don't know. I feel like that would have gotten redundant. And, like, seriously, I mean, Season 6 in Utapau, I mean, we had the bit with Anikan Obi-Wan, so yeah, we've done this, like, go inside the separate ship times. But, yeah, I feel like the droids could be annoying. I mean, now, is Ventress still going to get a pardon when all this is said and done? Because, I mean, technically, Vaz didn't need to be... She helped rescue Vaz, but Vaz didn't need to be saved. So, is the council still going to pardon her? I don't know. I have to wait and see. And also, looking at, like, if you go into Google's Thank You Clone Wars, and you'll get, like, a bunch of sketches Filoni drew from the last couple story conferences for the Clone Wars, and one of them shows what I'm going to assume is the concept art for the Son of Dathomir. It just looks a lot like... I don't know. I just very much get the feeling this was the Son of Dathomir concept. There's a shot of Vaz in there, and there's a bit where he's dueling Maul. I'm curious if... I mean, this sort of, like, is continuing, like, the Ventress and Vaz art, because... Like, if you look on the chronology, like, the order of, like, the episodes, which I'm really happy they added, like, the unaired episodes, like, the story arcs, comics, novels, like, they added that. And the chronology was interesting. I mean, they had the Utapau arc, Bad Batch arc, and then what was really interesting is they had the first 4 episodes of the Dark Disciple that make up Dark Disciple. Then they had the Son of Dathomir comic, and then they had the remaining episodes. So, I wonder, like, in that arc, Vaz have been... Were there was the original idea to have Vaz fighting along Dooku's side and against Maul? Because I remember, like, someone asked the writer of that arc, like, why was Vaz in that arc? And they're like, we had an idea for him, but then we cut it for time and focus. And I can see that. Like... I mean, it would have taken the focus away from Maul and his war with Dooku. And then the third episode, where the Jedi sort of show up to, like, take out Dooku and Grievous and Maul all at the same time. That arc was so rushed in comic form. Like, it should have gotten a novel or rough cut or finished, because that was too good to be sort of, like, abridged in comic, by the way. But I digress. Like, particularly apparent now, seeing a novel where everything's fleshed out and fully realized. Like, it really just shows just how rushed the novel comic was. The fact that I could read it, the comic, blow through a 4 episode arc in like uh, like each episode in like at one sitting. Whereas here, I really have to take my time and digest everything. But yeah, I can kind of see why Vaz would have appeared in the Dathomir arc when it happened, and I can also see why it was cut out. Yeah, I mean, it would have become more about taking out Vaz, which would have taken away focus from Maul. So that's all I have to say about this arc. In general, I mean, I think the quality sort of dipped. I mean, with Vaz, and just again, just it was a bit redundant, and yeah. But I mean, it's still really good. I'm still really enjoying it, and I'm really curious where it goes. Because again, it's about the characters, not the story, and that's what's keeping me hooked. So I'm gonna presume the next part's Saving Vaz Part 2. If not, I'll just put again. I'll change the title based on what I see. So leave your thoughts in the comments below. Like, dislike, subscribe, and this is JStar60. And I'll see you guys in the next Dark Disciple vlog. So, until then, may the Force be with you. Take care.